Okay, this is a quick bonus episode on how to run Jupyter notebooks outside of Colab. So again, the notebooks we've been using are generally called Jupyter notebooks. Although in the old days they used to be referred to as Iron Python notebooks, and that's why you might see they have the extension IPYNB to them. We've been running them in the cloud in Colab, but you can also run them in Amazon and Microsoft, and a number of other environments. Let's just take a quick look. So in Amazon, they have something called SageMaker. You need to be in AWS. I'm logged into AWS here. And then there's just these notebook instances here. They have quite a bit of other options as far as configuring or training and working with hyperparameters and stuff like that here, but this is generally the idea. Again, I'm logged in. I can create a notebook instance here. So I give the notebook a name and then where it's going to be run here. What size of environment or machine it's going to be run on, what role I'm going to run it on, and then I can also associate a Git repository. I haven't used this too much. I'm not going to go over this too much. But if you're used to Amazon services, there's some pretty good integration with Amazon data storage and stuff here. Okay, gave it a legal name, and let's try this again. Okay, so here's my notebook here, and I can get it up and running. Okay, now I'm waiting for this notebook to be created and set up. So let's look at another alternative here while we're waiting for that. Microsoft Azure Notebooks is Microsoft's solution to this. So again, you need to be signed in a Microsoft account. So once I'm logged in, I can in the Azure Notebook area, I can create a new notebook, give it a name. And let this get created. It creates similar to a GitHub repository, a README file, and then I can create notebooks in here in this project. So once I've created this project, I can run this on the free computer and basically creates what we traditionally see as a Jupyter notebook instance, where I can have my different files, and I can see my different which folders or notebooks are running, and I can upload a notebook here or create a new one. So let me just upload one. So I've just uploaded one of these notebook files here, and I can open it up and run it as a notebook. And this is what is our traditional Jupyter notebook environment. So I can go through here, I can click on my code things, I can hit shift enter, I can run these codes, and we'll see this later on when we run Jupyter notebook locally also. So again, Azure notebooks that you run this also. Both Microsoft and Amazon kind of run these as virtual machines, so once you start up these projects, you have to shut them down also. This shuts down the server. You generally have some free stuff here, but if you leave these running all the time, sometimes you can accumulate some charges for them depending on how you have this set up. So, okay, back at Amazon, we've got this system set up. I can open this up in their environment. And I'll open it up in like a Jupyter Notebook lab setting. So again, here's my console, my Jupyter console, and I can upload my different file. So I'm just going to upload this notebook and bring that in, upload it, and then I can run it as a server here. And the old Jupyter notebook will be set up, and oops, I'm going to switch this to TensorFlow. and I can import my different libraries and set this up. And again, this is running, and I can add. I can run different cells. I can edit the cells. This is very much like Colab would be running. The interface is slightly different here, but again, I can edit this stuff and go back and forth. And again, I want to close out these when I'm done with them, and make sure I halt this. In SageMaker, I want to make sure that I stop these notebook instances so they don't keep running. Another thing you can do with these notebooks is you can store them on GitHub, assuming you have a GitHub account. In fact, even from Colab, you can store them to GitHub and read them from GitHub. GitHub will try to run these notebooks to display them properly. It's supposed to have some support here. This is trying to run this, but again, sometimes it just, especially with the longer notebooks we have, it takes a while for these notebooks to be displayed properly. And in fact, this one didn't load, unfortunately, but that's what it will try to do. One of those challenges we run into running this in Colab or in any of these accounts is getting data into these systems. Now you can upload data to these systems. We've done that in Colab, and or you can integrate if you have data stored in like Amazon AWS services, you can integrate that. Same with Google services, Google databases and stuff. You can integrate that and how the information kind of flow back and forth. But that's a little bit beyond the scope of this course. But again, it's sometimes challenging, especially with large data sets. Like some of the image data sets will run hundreds of gigs for this. So a better solution sometimes is to run these on a local machine, particularly if you have a local machine with a good graphics processor, a GPU, which you can integrate. What I suggest you do there is download Anaconda and set this up. This website here talks about installing Anaconda. Here we do the Python 3.7 version of that. You create a new environment, and there's a nice interface here. You can set up Jupyter Labs right there. Here's Jupyter Labs right there. And then you can install Keras and TensorFlow here just by selecting them in this Anaconda environment. Let me just show you what that looks like. I'm going to go down here and select Anaconda. Now if you want this to run on your GPU, there's a couple other things you need to do, and so you might want to do some research or talk to me a little bit about that. But again, this is the local Jupyter notebook, so it runs a server. Where's this? Let me bring up the server. It runs this server in the background, but the interface is all through a web interface here. And this is, again, similar to what we see with Amazon or Microsoft. It shows the current files. So here's a folder with a bunch of notebooks in it. And then if I open one of these up here, it'll also show which ones are running. And if it is running, so I guess I just opened this up. I haven't run this yet, so I can enter information here and read this in. And here I can access my local folders and store, like here's I can have a large image data set stored here and running here for this. So again, here my notebook is running, and I can go back here and run it. So in each notebook will run in its own tab. And again, as long as your machine is set up, I've run these, again, often with some of the other services, especially Colab, you have some, and Kaggle, you have trouble after maybe 6 to 12 hours of running, where on these local machines we've run these for 3 or 4 days straight on larger training projects. And again, if you have a GPU available and you set it up specifically right, you can often significantly reduce the training time by often a factor of 2 to 8, or if not more, depending on what your GPU and your training time is. So again, that's an option, especially if you're getting into larger projects and want to continue doing this more. So that's your kind of options out there for where you can run these machines. Feel free to talk to me or post questions or stuff if you want to learn more about any of these.